Never. I will never go to Toronto. Oh my God. Never will I ever go to Toronto again. I already went there so many times. The only time I could ever see myself maybe going back to Toronto is there's a lot of attractions over there.
I'm trying to be come up with some disrespectful Jamaican accent talking to Vibes Cartel, man. Like,
An important part of this project is reshaping how history is being seen. It's really important to myself, to the staff here, to the group at Awakenings, and to the city, that people who often don't see themselves in these spaces have an opportunity to come and not only see themselves, but learn about the history. While we are telling, on one hand, a narrative, the other hand is that it's based in truth and it's based in actual history. And there's so much you can learn. This is a great place to come and use as a jumping point to start learning more about the history that surrounds us every day here in Toronto. I think it's important to acknowledge that what we're doing here goes beyond these walls. We're reshaping how history is being told. And this way people see themselves being fully represented. This is a crucial part of how we move forward post-2020, that we are making these steps and that we are taking these actions. It's not just about the words, it's about what we do and how we make the change.
I've seen this photo before of Mr. Bill Russell.
My name is Jamal McGlure, assistant coach of the Toronto Raptors, band leader of the Toronto Revelers, and right now you're at my mass camp, and we're here to ask everybody what the significance of costumes is with emancipation.
This would be going back to when the people who lived on the plantation were owned by the slave owners. And they would be putting on the costumes to mock their slave owners, who they would see in the balls in their costumes. So they put on their own costumes. So, and then it became a celebration, and then it just grew from there.
Honestly, it just means bringing what all of our ancestors did and just carrying it on for my children and their children and the rest of the generations.
I thought I followed all of the Canadian Twitters, but every day it seems like there's more and more that I never followed. Feels good to know that we have all the different agencies, I guess, organizations and whatnot. Golden State Warriors, Rotten Tomatoes, travel.gc.ga. When we traveled down to the United States, I guess I didn't communicate with these people, but from now on, you got travel advice from the government of Canada, National Post. But that goes along with our big human trafficking awareness. I was human trafficked when I was a kid by my father and whatnot, and some others, and my brother and his gang, his illegal gang out west in Edmonton. When I was underage, I was being human trafficked. And little did I know now that I was being human trafficked. But here is, you can see my finger. Here is some of the detrimental damages to human trafficking to go along with that finger there on the screen. That one on the screen, though, it looks like it's teaching a lesson, but somebody cares for that finger, where it's not going to end up like mine, broken and lacerated and whatnot. But it looks like when this person releases that finger, it's going to be fine. But yeah, human trafficking awareness is a big thing. If you know anybody that's being human trafficked, let people know. Or if you are and you're ready to change, it's a good thing. Because sometimes when you're being human trafficked, it's all you know. And it's hard to change or get into the position to make a change, because there may be some people that will try to hurt you, or worse, if you try to change in front of them. That was a big thing in my life. For even if you feel like you can't be who you want to be, if it's a thing that you want to be, that you want to do, that you desire to do or be or what have you, and somebody's stopping you saying they're going to hurt you if you want to get a job or make your own money, that's a form of human trafficking. It's like reverse slavery. It's reverse slavery. You have the right to get a job, but hey, in my community, I had people like my brother used to say if I started making music, he was going to shoot me, and he was dead serious. And his ex-wife is no longer here. She was killed in the shooting, but they've never caught the person that killed her. No. But yeah, the human traffickers. But I've gotten away from them because I bought my own firearm now. So now that I'm a firearm owner, the human traffickers, they haven't came around ever since. Same with that Phil Thompson. He was trying to human traffic me too. I rented a house over on Kijiji, luxury apartments. And when I went there, he started to treat me like I was one of his slaves. Tried to get me to do free jobs for him. He tried to tell me that I couldn't even, when I went to Canada Post to sign up for a post office box when I was renting a luxury apartment in their town, he came in and got right in my face and almost assaulted me and said that I wasn't allowed to have a P.O. box. But in Canada, as a legal citizen with a birth certificate, I have the right to have a P.O. box over at the Canada Post. So be very careful of human trafficking. It comes in all different forms. I was in the post office, like I said, and this man came in and he attempted to tell me that I wasn't allowed to have a P.O. box here in Canada in his town, Teeswater, which was a public township. But hey, you have these mafia, really bad criminal people that, believe it or not, still exist here in Canada. Kind of like a mix between a mafia and a Saddam Hussein. I never seen anything like it. Is like this, like a Phil Thompson. They got this family. They have all these boys that are doing all these bad jobs. We know everything about it now. They thought nobody knew it. No one even knew anything about these guys until they started trying to human traffic me. And then we found out all about what they're doing with their prostitution, their murders, their intimidations, and their human trafficking. I mean, I know for sure. I have evidence that Ashley Thompson's into prostitution. But hey, listen, we all want to go to court. That was that was an attempted human trafficking when he tried to tell me I couldn't have a Canada Post P.O. box. That's against the law. This is a public Facebook. I can show it. As long as it's public on Facebook, I'm not blocked or anything. I can legally show everything that's public on this Facebook. But yeah, this is the man that tried to tell me that I couldn't have a Canada Post P.O. box here in Canada. And then he got in my face and attempted to assault me. And he did assault me the one day. And his son constantly, he home invaded me and threatened me. I even called the cops. Unfortunately, he was never charged that day. I didn't have my firearm on me. He had a firearm and he threatened the cop or whatever. But any other time, I would have charged that kid big time. I would have put him in the slammer, a home invasion, or I would have shot him to death. Because now I got my firearms or whatever. We see what it is. And there won't be any more home invasions, or I'm blowing the 45 and the 410 and the 32. And the grenades. And then when the cops come and clean you up or whatever, you should have learned the law or whatever. You can't. When you asked me to leave after the 30 or 60 day notice or whatever, I didn't even have any firearms. I left. So why did you follow me and chase me and continue to home invade me? It's made your reputation horrible here in Canada, and it's going to continue. And you're going to go to jail or dead is where you're heading. Because, listen, you violated so many laws. They even killed one police officer they drove up on their little property. They think their property is so special. We own thousands of acres if you're talking family. And just because you have a long driveway in the middle, you're in the middle of, it's not like you're in the concessions or anything. You're in the middle of town. I mean, you got so many fucking neighbors. There's Indians everywhere. You got Indians everywhere. There's Pakistani neighbors and everything. So they fucking drive up and they shoot the cop, right? And they love their Pakistanis over there. Because they were one of those ones that brought all the fucking Pakistanis and shit. And they got too many trucks. They like to steal people's car. They stole my first vehicle, which was the Cadillac. But with the home invasion, no wonder there was a fire. No wonder there was that fire. And then with the Caterpillar story. So there's this guy that's supposed to be Phil's enemy because I'm renting from Phil. So if we're talking business, I'm paying Phil $1,000 a month. So some fucking random little house owner guy that works for the town comes around, he starts fucking with Phil's money. So Phil starts attacking me instead of getting rid of that other guy. Because if you're thinking real money, you're thinking mafia, you're thinking money, that whoever that fucking guy was that was burning caterpillars off the tree, that was your problem. So instead of getting that guy, he went against me, and it wasn't the smartest thing for him. Because he got more than, so he was burning caterpillars off the tree. So then Phil kills these innocent people that were over at the show, over at Teeswater Fair, because they were on this like promotional video. It showed Teeswater Concrete in a good light. It showed the whole town in a good light. And he kills all the good lighter people and then fucking leaves that town idiot that was burning caterpillars off the tree. Actually, the guy wasn't burning caterpillars off the tree. He was attempting to hurt people with his propane tank, and he was yelling at children and all that. So no wonder they went broke. Wayne Keller lost his pizza shop. Phil Thompson's broke as ever. They're starving. Like, they're going to continue. And then what are they going to do? Violate the law? His wife is a big talker. She works at the LCBO. She runs her shit talkers all day. Oh, she's going to kill StacksAMilli. When I was in town, she said she was going to, we're going to murder him. Da, da, da. Her husband got fucking pepper sprayed right in his eyes. Fucking, I beat the charges. Like, fucking, it was no tomorrow. They're really lucky I didn't have my firearm on me, or I would have shot him. But it's like, I didn't want to shoot him. I mean, look at how cute the dog is. It even looks just like him and all that. I love the dog and all that. And I even like them or whatever. But it just didn't work out. The apartments were too small. It was false advertisement. They weren't, it was horrible. There was no air conditioning. It was false advertisement. They were straight fucking leather-faced hillbillies. And that's a term I use my whole life, a leather-faced hillbilly. It's like when they're so fucking hillbilly and out of reality, they're out of reality so much. They're out of reality so much. They're like the fucking movie Leatherface. Okay, they thought they were so fucking tough. Okay, until I had to self-defend myself to them. I was nothing but nice. I gave the fucking cashier's checks, the fucking cash, the fucking stacks of money, everything fucking legitimate. My name's fucking StacksAMilli. He thought he was fucking Mr. Phil Thompson, the world boss or whatever. He wasn't world boss, because there's only one world boss. Okay? It wasn't Vibes Cartel, and he wasn't StacksAMilli. He was Phil Thompson, the family guy. Okay? Just a white guy from Teeswater. He doesn't own the whole town. He's just Canadian citizen. Yeah, he owned a gun, but he can't shoot everyone because he fucking is handicapped wanting to shoot everyone or whatever the fuck he want to shoot everyone for. And even, and it was even through, I'll testify, through military radio. We heard Phil Thompson a couple of years ago. He said he was so mad. He said he was going to shoot everyone at the local school. Okay. And okay, this is a guy that lives in Teeswater, Ontario, Canada, right next to the school. Right next to the school. Like across the street from the school. And he has the capability with his large magazine assault rifles. He is nuts, this guy. This Phil. He's like the complete opposite to me. Like, I put my life on the line to like save the world and all that, and he's like the criminal freaking evil guy that like puts his life on the line to hurt everyone. Yeah, I remember this Teeswater Home Hardware. I learned the story of it. There used to be the original Teeswater Home Hardware, and then they built the new one. And then they have that big one. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of bringing that one in. They have enough houses over there. I thought they were all built. But I guess they're doing a lot of renovations over there in Teeswater. But I thought a grocery store would have did better, and then they could travel to get their wood and all that. But I guess that's what they wanted. They needed the hardware store. This is what it originally looked like, eh? It was a town. It still is. But they used to have so many different shops. I guess the downtown used to be very lively, where it's not as lively as you'd think anymore. So don't. I looked at the pictures before I had went there too, thinking it was going to be a lively town. And it's not very lively. It's more of a gimmick. You have your families there, and then you've got not much going on downtown except a couple places. Now they have that hometown pizza. That's their most modernist sort of food place, right? And it's some good food. I mean, like I said, people would travel from anywhere to go there from Toronto because the original creators of that place were originally from Toronto, so they knew Toronto. Because when I went to Teeswater, I hadn't even known Toronto that much as an adult. I was just a hillbilly out in Teeswater from Teeswater, never been anywhere but Teeswater. But then you had people like that, Wayne Keller and all that. And that's how I was out in Linden and all that too, down in Tennessee. But then I went through hell and high water, and I've been to Toronto and all that to see it now and blah, blah, blah. And they got the best prices in milk out in Teeswater. I mean, that's one of the things that I pride them. I always wish I was out in Teeswater sometimes to get over at the Gailey. You can get a carton of milk for $1, and I don't think you can get that price anywhere else. It's only in Teeswater that you can get those dairy prices. They got a really good price on dairy out there in Teeswater with their cheese, their milk, and all that. And I guarantee if you were big enough out there in Teeswater and you talked to the boss man over at Gailey and you said, hey, I own a house over here, I want to buy this amount of cheese or da-da-da, he's going to give you a big deal. But how much cheese can you eat? How much cheese can you eat? They got big amounts of cheese. I've been in there. Even my auntie works there. She runs the Facebook page. She's auntie by relation or whatever. I was originally from Hillsburg, which is about, I don't know, 70 miles northeast of Teeswater. Maybe less, 50 miles. 50 or 60 miles, 65 miles, or 65 kilometers. So Teeswater wasn't too far away from where we were originally from. No wonder me and Phil, we look very similar. Many people say that I look like the young Phil Thompson. I said that before, and some people were mad in Teeswater. I said it. I don't know. Some mafia guy came up to me and said, "You think you're the young Phil Thompson?" Oh, they got fresh ice cream there. They even make, I think they call it the tractor trailer breakfast or whatever. It's like, the truck drivers. Yeah, they got all types of truck drivers. That's what it is. I'm not from Teeswater, but when I was in Teeswater, they could testify now. They'd say Tom was so down home or whatever. They thought I was from Teeswater. They thought I wasn't leaving. There was nowhere else to go. You know what I mean? Type of thing. They thought I was all the way Tees. But no, I've been other places. I'm from other places than Teeswater. Teeswater is one of the places I've been the least. But they had a great fair, too. I got to go to the fair. There was a big video for that, the Teeswater Fair, but some computer malfunction. It was a really good video, I tell you. These pictures don't do it justice. The video was the whole main attraction. It was the whole main attraction on video. You had your derby, you had your beer tent, you had your performance and all that. It was really good editing by me because I'm really good at music videos and blah, blah, blah. It was good. Mm-hmm. You had there was such a large crowd that year, 2017 must have been. Was it 2017? August 2017, I think it was. It was a big crowd. I was there. That's why I moved to Teeswater. It was to go to the fair, do the big videos, and something happened. I think what happened was they were building a pizza shop. Wayne Keller was downstairs, and he messed with the electricity. People were breaking into my apartment. Actually, the night of the Teeswater Fair, my apartment got broken into, and my jewelry got stolen and smashed in August 2017. I think it was the first night of it had to have been the first night of the Teeswater Fair. We can document these dates. August 23rd or 25th or whatever it was. And I know who it was. It was these two guys that lived with their old I don't know. It was somebody and they broke in. It's not. It was fake. It was only costume jewelry. Back then, I only had costume jewelry. Now I got the real gold and the real silver. But back then, I was starting from the bottom. I had some costume jewelry in my house or the apartment I was renting, and I was just trying to make a really good video with everyone and da da da. And they thought I had all this money, but I didn't. And they broke into my apartment and smashed my fake jewelry, and then they messed up the electricity to the so the fair video couldn't come out, and all it all was a fair video for everyone, that everyone was going to be selling more drinks, selling more food, people was going to be coming up doing that. So it was just because Phil just couldn't hold his horses. I even gave Phil an expensive vehicle, and I asked him, and I sat down with him, and I stood up with him, and I all types of stuff, and I said, will you take this Cadillac for that fire that went on? There's a small fire, a small, tiny little fire because it wasn't big like that. It was like this little contained fire in the bathroom of one of his units, just one of his units. He's a big apartment owner. He's a millionaire, right? And I asked him, I said, okay, I just bought this new car. It cost $4,000 cash. I just withdrew it. Will you take this to clear the debt? You're gonna have to do another thing of sheetrock. That's $50 for a thing of sheetrock. Okay, and then you got that little area about the floor. And then the biggest money was the vanity. It had burned the side of the vanity. That was the biggest money, was this vanity. But it wasn't that big of a vanity. It wasn't a full out vanity. It was like maybe a quarter, a half, not even a half vanity. It was like a little, not even a quarter vanity. Okay, and so I gave him my first car. It was nice, just as nice as this Ford truck, okay? Like, it was nice. I even cleaned it up and all that, blah, blah, blah. So then he took that and everything was good. I felt good, but then the threats continued. Then, everything was like sweet, and I felt sweet, and everything was good. And then I was renting the apartment down the street at Wayne's, and that pizza shop had came and da da da. And then Wayne was poisoning people. He was putting pipe glue in the pizza. So then me and Phil both got poisoned by Wayne, and they were doing all types of weird stuff and all that. And then I was getting home invaded. Then next thing you know, Phil was mad at me again, and the boys came at me, and this is ours, and da da da. Even though I paid him $4,000, then it was just like, get out of town or you're dead, and da da da. And then I finally got out of town. Oh, and I got to enjoy the one time I had dinner at Boomer's, and when I was having dinner at Boomer's, I wish I would have been doing videos more. At the same time, it was a good learning lesson for me. I could have got this video. Hey, it was all scratched. They didn't let much come out of their cheese water, even though I had a couple more videos. But one of the experiences was I was over at Boomer's. It's a real nice night down there in downtown Cheesewater. You felt like you lived there forever, and you felt like you owned the downtown, and the lighting, and I think it was just and the bagpipes just came out. They were coming out. And they started, and oh my goodness! But it is like that, and you forget about that, because I come from one of those families. We thought, and then my dad dismantled and all that. But there's families out there, and that's all I can think is I knew how it was back where my dad had tried to be a family. And then what families were and all that. And now I understand, like, yeah, there's some real families. Well, obviously, the whole Cheesewater. And I was just a renter downtown of one of the little downtown things. So, but it was a good experience. I didn't get to go to this, though. I think this is in the UK, but they have Cheesewater's famous for their sheep and their shearing and all that. They have a lot of farms out there. I think my favorite girls out there in Teeswater that works at the LCBO, her family was from some farm. So I'd have to rate her one of my favorite Teeswater girls. Her and the Carly, there's a Carly, and then I think there was this one old lady with a dog, a couple old ladies with some dogs that used to walk around that I like. And there's all types of people in Teeswater. I even used to yell and scream at people in Teeswater. There's a lot of drinking that goes on in Teeswater. I used to be drinking in Teeswater. Because there's an LCBO right in Teeswater, and for the longest time there was only Boomers to Eat, and it closed at a certain time, and but now there's the Hometown Pizza, and they're open late. But I used to order pizza all the way from Wingham. All the way from Wingham. They'd drive it to Teeswater. Yeah, it looks like every year it's a whole different thing. Had I known that? See, if they would have let me stay for maybe a couple of years in Teeswater instead of just a couple of months, we could have went over everything. But hey, listen, I'm only 50 miles north. But look at this. Like every year is a different thing. When I was there, it was chicken wings and ribs. And now it's jackpot beef show and melons and all that. So it's different every year. And sometimes they have the rides and the exhibition, and sometimes they don't. There's a lot of it. Oh, they do. They do that wing night all the time. Oh my God, I love that Teeswater. It was like a white people's. It was like a white people's dream. I just can't believe Phil Thompson. He ruined my whole Teeswater everything. I'll have to wait until he eventually passes away or something to come back to Teeswater, because that's completely unfair. I'm only 20-something years old. Phil's like 60, and he ruined my whole Teeswater life. I mean, look at it. It's a whole Teeswater life, okay? So when he hits about 70 or 80, I think he'll just stay in. Once he hits about 70 or 80, I think he'll just stay in his house. Or maybe Phil will be like one of those 80-year-old guys or whatever. They bring on, they put on the stage at the senior center. Oh, I lived in Teeswater before I got ODSP. So now I'm on ODSP, so it's a little bit different. I used to be jealous of the ODSP apartments more than frickin' Phil's apartment. Okay, Phil advertised his apartments as luxury, and they weren't luxury. Okay? So I used to be in Teeswater accidentally, and I'd spent this money to go to luxury apartments, but the apartments weren't luxury, and I used to see the other people in the ODSP apartments, and I used to be like, I'd rather be in those. Those are way nicer and bigger, and it's more fitting and all, and the people are nicer, and they're not trying to hurt you and rob you. And then you got Phil's apartment where they just like set you up and rob you and all that. Listen, everybody else yes, I love the cozy, and shout out to Brooke. She was great. She poisoned me once. I mean, I just tell the truth. Okay, she poisoned me 2 or 3 times. So listen, the food was good up until she started poisoning me, and I used to love that girl, Brooke. And I used to love Sherry, and I used to love everybody over there. And the food was good, but she poisoned me a couple times, so watch out for that. Brooke poisoned me. But I'm sure, now I know how their minds work with a Brooke and all that. I mean, she was a girl, and I was just a guy. I didn't know. I had anxiety. I didn't know what to say to Brooke. And I had a lot of tattoo work, and I still do and all that. But she took it out on me, okay? She fucking poisoned me and almost killed me. So be careful of that. You know, I thought tipping them and all that was going to be good. But you know where else? You know where I had no problems at all was that Canada Post. Shout out to Canada Post. Oh, and that barber down there, he was very discriminative. Watch out for him if you're black or any other colors or whatever. He's really bad. He'll call you an N-word to your face. And what did he say to me? He said, "Oh, he's not in the mood for losing anyone today," or something like that. Yada yada. But nobody even goes there. Hardly anybody even goes there. That's why he's poor. Anyways, but yeah, there was never any problems at the Canada Post, Jay, because they're government. And here's the Boomers Cozy. There never used to be really. I had some good dinners over there. Some good dinners. I used to live right here above Hometown Pizza. Oh my goodness, this is an updated picture of Teeswater since the arrival of Hometown. Looks like the barber's even got a sign. Maybe he's open more. He wasn't open as much when I lived there. I lived up here, believe it or not. My computer used to be right here. Okay, but it got to be a nuisance. They made this Hometown as such a great place. It was even better, they said, than my house or where I live. So I got, you know, when they build like a place and then they kick you out or whatever, when they build like, yeah, so I got scammed or whatever, but it's all right. This is my video to tell everyone I got scammed. I paid first and last month's rent and all that, and then they scammed me for my last month's rent. They tried to kill me. So I'm lucky I came out because it was a big hit, eh? They didn't have any restaurant all in town. So this Hometown Pizza was like life or death for them. So like they started putting out hitters on me and all types of shit for living above the pizza shop. They were going to kill me. So that's why I fucking sprayed Phil Thompson and went with the police and then beat it in court and all that. Because guess what? When it comes to court, you can't kill somebody to make a fucking pizza shop. That's called murder. Okay? You have to evict the person legally and put up with it. Here's that gangster bankster apartment complex that Cam Thompson owns. Full of guns and drugs. This apartment is full of guns and drugs, full of robbers, full of crime, full of home invaders. Phil Thompson, the big mafia boss. I bet you he's the one that's running this Hummer right here. He lives right over here. I'll show you where he lives. Oh, hold on a minute. Okay. Hold on, we got to start back at the Canada Post. Shout out to the firefighters. I was there when they did their inspection on the fire. Phil Thompson called the police in the fire. He had them do an inspection. They had them do an inspection, and they deemed that the fire was not arson. It was an accident. It was deemed as not arson. It was just a small little fire that I paid for. I do love the town, though. I just wish these guys weren't the owners. But they are, so you have to deal with that, Teeswater. So enjoy your lackluster and all that. Here's where Phil lives. You got to turn left on that street I just passed. He's over here in the biggest house. You can't miss it. It says Thompson's right on the front. You turn left right before Gailey Hill, right down this road, and then you turn right once you get to those mansions that look like the mansions we live in. And then just over there to the right or whatever. Oh, and this is where Cam Thompson tried to rob me for my motorcycle. He tried to get me to put all my stuff in this locked area back here and all that. Oh, it was horrible. This is where that lady with the Rolls Royce lives. I mentioned this lady that owns a Rolls Royce. It's like a 1980 Rolls Royce. She lives right here. This is where she pulled up on the Honda 250cc dirt bike, and she looked like Pocahontas. She pulled up, and she was sitting on top of the thing. I used to go to the public library over here, and I think the book I got was Kevin O'Leary. No. Yeah, it was a Kevin O'Leary book. here's the mortician's office or whatever. It's famous in that town. I used to walk. I even though I had my oh, did they add a freaking thing to it? This is the house I bought the Cadillac Escalade from. This one right here. And, I hate to say it, as much as I like the Cadillac, I brought about $4,000 cash, and it was a very windy day that day, and I mean windy. And nor did that guy invite me inside the house to sit